Dear colleagues, we warmly welcome you on our speech, on our workshop. I will introduce myself and my colleagues. My colleague Patrycja Badecka. I am Klaudia Kolenda-Sujecka. We are from Poland.
Roma Ciesielski is supposed to be with us today, but unfortunately he's not here. So we are trying to represent our triplet.
At the beginning, I have two news, one good and one bad. The bad news is that we have already 30 minutes, so if we take a few minutes from dinner break, please forgive us. And the good news is that we are not, maybe good, maybe bad, we are not scientists, we are not researchers, but we are practitioners who really use memory reconsolidation and integrate it with our approach. And from that perspective, from a practical perspective, we would like to show you a few words and maybe some exercises in this workshop.
Okay, so what we know from the practice that from PPT practice, that client comes to therapy usually having some symptoms, yes? And we can see the mask on the drawing. These are symptoms. And what's behind symptoms? Yes, behind symptoms we usually have suffering. The client usually has extreme internal struggle, yes? And this internal struggles usually comes from the conflict.
And it's from the result that we, on unconscious level, generalize some patterns which we used to fulfill our emotional needs into the past, which are adaptive patterns into the past, and we have to remember about it.
Okay, and our client tries usually to use them in a new context, but usually it doesn't work. So what happens then is the client is in a very difficult situation. We can say that the client is in the back of the wall, yes? He doesn't know what to do, which way to go. And usually in that moment, the clients come to our office, yes? And we can hear it in the words that they are using.
And sometimes we could say, you know, it's just about willing, you can choose something, why not, dear client, dear patient. But you know, as you can see on this slide, it's for some clients it's impossible because these emotional patterns that we called basic conflict is really protected by our defense mechanism. It was adaptive for us for years. And now, changing it for some clients could be impossible on cognitive level.
And because of the defense mechanisms, usually patient cannot get any insights. When the defense mechanisms are active, our prefrontal cortex doesn't work properly. So that's why what we want to do through the process of reconsolidation, try to move a little bit through the defense mechanisms. So what we would like to show you how neuroscience can help our clients to overcome the crisis, and what could be the ladder. So the ladder could be the process of memory reconsolidation. What does it mean? Memory reconsolidation is the brain neuroplasticity mechanism by which we can remove long-term memory traces. It means we can remove emotional memory that is stored in an unconscious memory, and we can put there a new, more corrective emotional experience.
And I would like to add that for now, it's only one based on research way in neuroscience which we can use to not only make the old knowledge weakness, but to replace it. It's the only well-known process that we know for now, and it's for, I know now for 20 years that we know this process.
Mm-hmm. So what's important that neurons that fire together, wire together. Yes, so we need that emotional arousal to change that emotional knowledge, emotional experience, emotional meaning that the client has inside.
And how the brain works and why do we need it? We have two crucial parts when we talk about memory consolidation. The first part is a basal ganglia. It's a part of limbic system. It's a part which is crucial in procedural memory. What consists of procedural memory? It's two kinds of knowledges. One of this knowledge about this procedure is what should I do to be safe, to get some respect, to get some love. And the second part of this procedural memory is what other people expected from me. You know, even when we talk about this procedural memory, we'll talk about, basic conflict at least. So there is a center, we can say, where our basic conflict already is. And it's a part we usually used to call this part of our brain emotional brain. And in this part of the brain, in emotional brain, we have our basic conflict. It's very simple, I think. And the second part that is also really important is our prefrontal cortex. We used to call this part of the brain the cognitive brain. So it is a brain which is from the capacity to know, which the new knowledge that we meet every day is coming for this part. And all the paradox of the psychotherapy is that we try to change the knowledge which is on the basal ganglia by coming new information by prefrontal cortex. But usually, if we don't use the process of memory consolidation, they don't have connection between them. That's why cognitive therapy it's a kind of approach that cannot remove our old patterns, old knowledge, that we have transformation process for that.
That's why we need experience from one side to get this emotional arousal that derives from basal ganglia, but from the other side we need as well that perceptive part of our brain, that older, I would say, or the youngest part of our brain, to put it together. And this is what we are doing in the process of reconsolidation.
And what is the inner conflict in that part? Please remember the previous slide also, because I will mention it later. But what is the inner conflict in this area? We will say that inner conflict is a conflict between old knowledge, old patterns, this one which help us to fulfill our emotional needs into the childhood, and between new knowledge in our life. This new which comes from our actual experience, actual life, and this old knowledge, old patterns are protected by this defense mechanism, and that's the key.
And that's once again we need that emotional arousal, yes, to wire that together, yes, to put the new current knowledge, contrary knowledge, yes, to start the process of transformation, of the process of reconsolidation. And how does it work?
And in this way, when we regard to this definition, we would say that we have some old knowledge, which is connection with some old neural circuits, old synapses, and with all thoughts, patterns, behaviors, reaction effects. And what we want to do in this process, it's to become this new knowledge, new neural circuits, new thought patterns, behaviors, emotional. We would like to replace this old knowledge, but by this new knowledge through the transformation, through the experience.
So what we are doing, we are like building emotional bridge between the old knowledge and the new knowledge. And we are doing that through the experience.
And for everything what I already mentioned, it's a responsibility, a process of memory reconsolidation. It consists of 4 steps, which are in some order, and this order is very important in this memory reconsolidation. When you are looking at this, probably we will think, oh, I already do this in psychotherapy process, and it's really a big possibility because you usually did something like that. The first step is a step of consolidated memories. It's a step where we reactivate a memory trace, this emotional knowledge. At this step, it's a step where we are talking about basic conflict of our clients, but at the same time, on the neuroscience level, we activate synapses which are responsible for this trace, for this knowledge. The second step is a step of confusion. At this step, before we were, on our basal ganglia, at this step we are on the level of prefrontal cortex, and we experience a new knowledge contrary to the expected. This first step is emotional and cognitive dissonance, and the most crucial thing at this step is triggering the state of emotional instability. It's the state that I used to call in my psychotherapy process, like client used to say, oh, I don't even know what happened, something happened in my mind and I don't know what to do with that. And I remember when I was a young psychologist, I think, oh my God, something strange happened now, and it's worse, but it's a very good step. And the last step is a step of assimilation. At this step, we're changing the memory trace, but assimilating a new knowledge and experience. And about all these steps, we will tell you more for a few minutes.
Okay, so one of the techniques that we can use for the
Okay, so I would like to say more about this consolidated memories, about the first step. The first step is a step about what the knowledge of our clients is responsible for his suffering. It's a step on which crucial for therapists is being curious, really curious. The authors of the Memory Reconsolidation theory, they used to say that when you build a bridge and you know what patterns is responsible for your client's suffering, you have to stay there, pitch a tent, set a camp, and just let your client to feel this knowledge, not only know. It's not about interpretation, that, oh, it's because you are sad, because you have some bad mother or something like that. It's about being in this experience again. Feel it with all the senses.
Because our brain needs time, and our brain is not a light switch, so it doesn't work in that way that we turn on the light and there is light, we turn off the light, there is no light, yes? We need time to get used to the new knowledge, and that's why experiencing is so important here.
And now we would like to invite you to some exercise, very short exercise. Yeah. Oh. Patricia will give you some sheet of paper now, and I would like to ask you to invite to pick some small problem, actual problem from your life, some symptom from your actual life, like what you want to solve, of course, for example, smoking or fear of public speaking. I know a lot about it, so it could be our case today. Or speaking in English. Just pick up one small problem, actual problem from your life, one symptom from your life, actual thing that you want to overcome. And I would like to ask you to write this down, the sentence like this, I will tell you what, on the paper, on the very top of the paper. Please write down, if I start speak on public, then. If I stop smoking, then. And then please to complete it at least 10 times. Let your thoughts flow. It will be simple at the beginning, but then it's become harder and harder. But please try it. You can have some very unusual thoughts, but please write this down. Don't think about it a lot.
It's important to not criticize ourselves. The answers might be stupid, the answers might be weird, yes? Yeah. Just go with the flow and try to answer 10 times for such a question or for your problem.
What will happen if I start speak in public? What will happen if I stop smoking? What will happen if I divorce, for example? Don't think about it on my seminar, but maybe.
What will happen if I become successful, for example?
If I become successful? If I start speaking English on this conference? Let your thoughts flow.
That's perfect.
It doesn't matter. You have to just write down everything of that. Every of these complete sentences. Okay, now when someone is already finished, please pick up one of these statements which is the most emotional for you, which is the most truly for you from some reason.
That resonates with you in this moment the most. When we are doing this with the client in the office, we usually ask clients to say it out loud, because when the person says that loud, the person will feel better which one is the one that resonates emotionally in the best way with the person.
And if you will pick this one, the most truly for you for now, the more emotional for you, please turn on the paper and write this down on the very top of this paper, because we will need the place
above. Or if you want, you can make a line in the middle of the page and write outside of the line this sentence which resonates in you the most. And we will, for now, leave this bottom space free, open.
So write down only this one statement on the other page, on the very top of it. If I start speaks public, if I start speak English on this conference, then it should be statement like that. This is the form of the statement that we need.
Okay, so what we will right now would like you to do, we will try to put a little bit.
Okay, now we are coming to the second step of the memory reconsolidation. If you already write down your emotional knowledge, old knowledge, now we are coming to the new knowledge, to the step of confusion. At this stage, we should ask ourselves how our client can experience contrary new knowledge, in which way?
So how we can discover the contrary knowledge? So it can be in, for example, different incoherences in cognition. We can get different exceptions from previous lives. For example, if Klaudia said, okay, I am afraid to speak in public, maybe once in my experience I said something in public and nothing happened, yes? So we are searching for such exceptions to the statement of the client, yes? The exceptions we can as well get in the therapeutical relationships, that we can experience something exceptional for the client. For example, if we are thinking about the key conflict when the client afraid to speak in a very open way because, I don't know, is afraid of abandonment, for example, and in that moment in the relationship start to speak openly, this is that exceptional knowledge that derives from the therapeutical relationship, for example, yes? We can, the contradicting knowledge can be as well the knowledge that can be between the sessions. Something new happens, something different happens, a new experience happens for the client. So this is the exceptional knowledge as well, and as well we can use during the session. Imagery experience, so we can imagine with the situation. For example, if we are talking, okay, I'm afraid to speak up in public, so I can imagine that I am speaking in front of the people, yes, and nothing happens. Yeah.
So we can, a few sources of this contradictory knowledge, we can, in the simplest way, say that we can find this new knowledge in therapeutical relationship, it what happened actual on the session, from the experience of the client between the session, and from imagery experience during the session. And now we would like to ask you to think about some new contradictory experience to your emotional knowledge, what you previously write down on your paper. Do you have any experience in which that's what you expected from your life, from other people, doesn't work, it doesn't happen? For example, it could be experience like if my difficulty is public speaking, it could be like, have you ever speak aloud, even for a small group of people? For example, 2 persons, it's already a group, and they don't laugh at you, or they were not boring, or something like that.
So we are right now experiencing, yes, contradicting knowledge, because you are not laughing at us, for example, yes?
For me, for sure.
So think about the sentence that you wrote here. Yes, and right now write down on that below space the exception. What was the exception in your life?
Some new knowledge, contradictory for this previous one, which was, something what is a contra-argument to your previous knowledge, to your emotional knowledge. It could be like, something what just come to your mind, like once I met some people and they treat me in different way, or people could be different, or sometimes I can speak public and sometimes not. It could be a lot of thoughts. Just pick one of your thoughts that now comes to your mind and write this down on the same sheet of paper but above. It could be your experience or your friends, family, neighbors, clients. We have a lot of experience. We have a back experience in our head and heart.
Yeah, so we need to have a little curiosity to experience, to search in our lives different experiences.
We are at the stage of confusion already. Yeah.
So this is the stage, the second stage. Yeah? Confusion. We are trying to get you confused.
You know, it's usually become on the psychotherapeutic session very spontaneously. For example, I got a client who had some beliefs, very emotional beliefs, that if people are not good at orthography, they are stupid and we shouldn't respect them. And once on the therapy session, I made some mistake. I didn't know some definition of that. And he asked me, "You really didn't know that?" And I told him, "Yeah, really. But really? How it possible?" And I asked him, "Oh, how it is when you expect something different from me, and now you realize that I didn't know this definition. How it is for you?" And he told me, "I don't know now. I don't know. I have to think about it and come back on the next session and we will talk about it." It was contradictory, unexpected new knowledge for him.
So when the patient says, no, I don't know, I have to think about it, this is the moment of confusion that we are searching for in the therapy.
It's the moment when our brain is really surprised. So we have some really, really emotional knowledge, this previous on the first stage, and now our brain said, "Oh my God, there could be different things in our life. You know, people behave different in different situations. It's not the only way that I can think about other people and myself that I think before."
And this is what we call the window of reconsolidation. So this is the step that unlocks the synapses that holds the client's knowledge, and it opens for a short period of time. We have only 5 hours. It's not long, only 5 hours. And we called it the window of reconsolidation. And within that 5 hours, old knowledge can be replaced by new one. So just remember that 5 hours is crucial here.
So if in this period of time, our client will experience, will have some new experience, which is mentioned to this new knowledge, to this new knowledge. There is very possible that the new knowledge which replace the old one. Okay, and now we are on the first stage. The first stage is emotional and cognitive dissonance. At this stage, the crucial question that we have asked ourselves and our clients is, what is it to like to see and feel both knowledges at the same time? And now we would ask you, we will invite you for some short exercise. Just we would like to invite you here or just on some place where you can stand.
Just stand up, find yourself a little bit of space in front of you.
Stand up, yeah. You can.
You can stand up, it's safe.
It's safe, yeah.
It's okay. And have the paper with you. Have this the paper with you that you wrote those 2 sentences.
And please put this paper in front of you, that you can look at it with these 2 sentences, with this, the old one and the new one. So it's this.
Okay, I see that some of you have little letters, so maybe you will need like adjust to your eyes, the vision, yeah.
Just look now at your new and old knowledge at the same time. How is it to feel and have this new and old one into your conscious way at the same time? How to ease to experience it at the same time.
We can use as well in this exercise the areas of balance model, so you can maybe feel a little bit your body, what kind of reactions you have in your body when you look at those two sentences, or maybe are there any thoughts in your brain right now, in you, in the cognitive part, or maybe they are arousing any emotions, so we are talking about that contact area, or maybe any fantasies.
So give yourself now 1 minute just. You can just close your eyes after you look at this both knowledge, keeping this both knowledge at the same time in your mind. Look at your body, what's happened in your body. You can scan it. Keep your thoughts. What do you feel right now? What are your emotions? What are your fantasies? Just let your experience flow.
And we encourage you to stay with this knowledge.
Okay, please sit down for 2 minutes more. Will you forgive us 2 minutes late, 2:05 at least? Yeah.
Long lunch break.
Okay.
So how can we help patient to get this knowledge, this new knowledge, assimilate better? We have as well some techniques that we can use. We will show you just one.
And it's the 4th stage of memory reconsolidation. It's already assimilation. So it's the stage on which we already see in our client's experience, and he already reported us that something's changed. He doesn't even know what, but something's changed.
So what we can use, for example, we can use the little flashcards or the little post-its for the client. So the client can write down those sentences, those 2 new sentences. And why flashcards? Why little post-its? Because the client can carry it with himself or herself, for example, in the wallet. So anytime between the session, he can take the post-it and just read it once again, and experience that once again, feel it once again, see what will happen.
It's important to be very succinct, clear, black, white sentences written by therapists or clients. It depends. In my experience, it depends. It could be applicable in all sessions. A lot of things could be on this flashcard. It's usually I ask my clients, it was something on this session what you want to take with you, what was really important for you, or what will let you remember of this new knowledge that we are talking today. What do you want to write down on your piece of paper? What do you want to take with you? Sometimes it's just one word, for example, love. Sometimes it's like one experience from the session, like I can feel, I can suffer, and I can be accepted at the same time because I get it with therapists. Or I can feel. My clients on the previous session that she told me, the only thing that I want to really take with me, and it was really important for me, that I can feel. I heard your voice in my head that I can feel, and I want to take it with me. And we can applicable it between sessions. Some of my clients want to draw something. For example, something what they imagine during this exercise or something else. And usually I ask them to come back to this small flashcards between the session, few times during the day or when the symptoms usually occurs, and just look at it. Don't change anything. It's not about changing. It's not about forcing. Memory consolidation, it's not a forcing like, my previous graduation was CBT, so I remember how I work that time. It's not about, that you should all the time think, oh, I shouldn't be scared in public or something like that. It's about having some new knowledge and just be in contact with it between the session.
It's sometimes about accepting like two different realities in the same time. Yes, that I can be open and I can be in the relationship in the same time, for example, for patients who has problems with key conflict. Mm-hmm.
I will say one or two words about the signs of removal of the symptoms. So at the assimilation stage, we can see some signs which give us some information that the old knowledge was a replacement by the new one. There are two main symptoms of them. The first of them is lack of reactivation of the trigger. So microtraumas doesn't reactivate anymore our basic conflict. And what is important, it's going on without effort. So we don't have to think about it. Please don't reactivate my basic conflict and just speak with it all the time. It's become without effort. And the second sign is the absence of the symptoms. So symptoms doesn't occur anymore. There are the two signs that assimilation process, that memory consolidation goes very well. And now, almost on the end of our workshop, I would like to ask you to write something on these small cards. What do you want to take with you from this workshop, from the last 35 minutes at all? And maybe it could be one word, one statement, or maybe you can draw something. What do you like to be in the contact, to remember about what happened on this workshop? What was important for you?
The research on reconsolidation shows that in this post-experience of contradictory knowledge acts as a new knowledge that overrides and replaces the construct that supports the occurrence of the symptom. So I think this is the clue of the reconsolidation process.
And one more thing, and I think that they are crucial if we can resume our today's workshop, is two things. The first thing is very, very crucial. I think that every psychotherapy process, but in memory consolidation is very important. It's a position of not knowing. We can call this also a pro-symptom position. What it means? It means that I really, really don't know what will be better for my client if he's in an inner conflict. I really don't know. But on the conscious level, we already, all of us know that. But sometimes we know, even when we do that exercise that we do before, we could, make some non-verbal signs to our clients that we prefer some knowledge. For example, oh, you have to choose between staying with your husband or divorce with him and change your life. So it's very important to be really, really neutral in this process, in memory consolidation. And
I think that we have that in the positive psychotherapy, that we treat our patients as an expert from their lives, from their selves. So we believe as well that they have the ability to correct their emotional knowledge by themselves. That's why we don't induce anything from our perspective.
And the last thing is that memory consolidation is really a metaphor. We can integrate it with all the approaches. The only what's limited us is our imagination and the tools that we know. But I think that in PPT we have both. Really good imagine, fantasies, and a lot of tools. So we wish you a pleasant work with your clients. Thank you.
Thank you.